fingertips were made to touch your skin. Days only last for a minute. I never questioned why, I always knew you were mine. Loving you is in my DNA. Yeah, loving you is the only way. Yeah, loving you is in my DNA. Yeah, loving you is in my DNA. Is in my DNA. Feel like I hear your voice so clear above the noise. Give me the faith that I needed. I saw it in your eyes, I always knew you were mine. Loving you is in my DNA. Yeah, loving you is the only way. Yeah, loving you is in my DNA. Yeah, loving you is in my DNA. 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 Loving you is in my DNA. Yeah, loving you is the only way. Yeah, loving you is in my DNA. Yeah, loving you is in my DNA. Is in my DNA.
You know I want you, and no one above you. You know I want you, and no one above you.
As you promised me that I was more than all the miles combined, you must have had yourself a change of heart like halfway through the drive, because your voice trailed off exactly as you passed my exit sign. Kept on driving straight and left our future to the right. Now I am stuck between my anger and the blame that I can't face, and memories or something even smoking weed does not replace. And I am terrified of weather, cause I see you when it rains. Doc told me to travel, but there's COVID on the planes. And I love Vermont, but it's the season of the sticks. And I saw your mom, she forgot that I existed. And it's half my fault, but I just like to play the victim. I'll drink alcohol till my friends come home for Christmas. And I'll dream each night of some version of you that I might not have, but I did not lose. Now your tire tracks in one pair of shoes, and I'm split in half, but that'll have to do. So I thought that if I piled something good and all my bad, that I could cancel out the darkness I inherited from Dad. No, I am no longer funny, cause I missed the way you laughed. You once called me forever, now you still can't call me back. And I love Vermont, but it's the season of the sticks. And I saw your mom, she forgot that I existed. And it's half my fault, but I just like to play the victim. I'll drink alcohol till my friends come home for Christmas. And I'll dream each night of some version of you that I might not have, but I did not lose. Now your tire tracks in one pair of shoes, and I'm split in half, but that'll have to do. Oh, that'll have to do. My other half was you. I hope this pain the sticks. And I saw your mom, she forgot that I existed. And it's half my fault, but I just like to play the victim. I'll drink alcohol till my friends come home for Christmas. And I'll dream each night of some version of you that I might not have, but I did not lose. Now your tire tracks in one pair of shoes, and I'm split in half. That'll have to do, have to do.
like a small boat on the ocean, sending big waves into motion, like how a single word can make a heart open. I might only have one match, but I can make an explosion. And all those things I didn't say were wrecking balls inside my brain. I will scream loud tonight. Can you hear my voice this time? This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on. Starting right now. I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes, 'cause I've still got a lot of fight left in me. Losing friends and I'm chasing sleep. Everybody's worried about me. In too deep. Say I'm in too deep. And it's been 2 years, I miss my home, but there's a fire burning in my bones. Still believe, yeah, I still believe. And all those things I didn't say were wrecking balls inside my brain. I will scream loud tonight. Can you hear my voice this time? This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on. Starting right now. I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes, 'cause I've still got a lot of fight left in me. A lot of fight left in me. Like a small boat on the ocean, sending big waves into motion, like how a single word can make a heart open. I might only have one match, but I can make an explosion. This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on. Starting right now. I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes, 'cause I've still got a lot of fight left in me. No, I've still got a lot.
Let's get down to business. Give you one more night to get this. We've had a million nights just like this. So let's get down to business. Mama, please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart.
How do you cope with a player like Gordon Hale when you look at some of the quality of goals he scored? Because there have been plenty of spectacular ones, but in positions like this, he's clinical.
Well,
And he maybe doesn't get credit for goals like that, which are strikers' goals. Everyone looks at the the spectacular ones from outside the box, like the finish against Coleraine, for example.
the first goal that we saw there's typical him. He works for the team, he goes to press, he puts people under pressure, and he literally made that goal himself. Other times he's always looking to make himself available.
Give you one more night to get this. We've had a million nights just like this. So let's get down to business. Back and forth with the bullshit. I know I said it before, I don't mean it. It's been a while since I had your attention, so it might hurt to hit it. dreams we had don't ever fall away.
Week up front, Daniel Gibson, formerly known as Danny Perkis, has 14 goals, 2 goals in his last 3 matches. He's a real threat up there. Then for Cliftonville, a couple of birthdays in their defence. Shea Kearney turned 20 yesterday. Earlier in the week, Sean Stewart was 21. As you heard from Jim Magilton a little bit earlier, back come Luke Turner and also Rory Hale into their lineup. Joe Gormley replaces the injured Wilson, and Ronan Hale has 7 goals in his last 5 matches against Carrick Rangers, so he will no doubt have to be a player that the home side keep an eye on. Tonight's referee is Tony Clark. And just before the game, a word on Albert Watson, a player you know very, very well. 550 games in the Irish League. Privilege
and pleasure of working with Albert, both at Linfield and at Ballymena United. You know, he is someone who gives us all of the time. He belies his age with regards to his fitness and the physical shape that he has himself in, and he's just a born winner. He just wants to go and give of his best on all occasions. A tremendous number of appearances, and very well done, Albert.
We've spoken about the home record the Carrick Rangers have here. We were also here this time last year when Cliftonville could have gone top of the league, went 2-0 up. We expected them to then reach the summit, but Carrick came back. Will that perhaps be in the mind of some of these players as the match goes on, just to ensure that there's absolutely no complacency?
Certainly, you know, Cliftonville will use that as a lesson. It was a fantastic game, as I remember, and that was the emergence of young Moore, who went across to West Ham this year. You know, it was a fantastic, you know, game for him to play so well in. But yes, you know, obviously any good manager reflects on what they've done at a ground previously. That you will always learn lessons, and I would think the lesson will be sort of drummed into them by Jim. But he talked about momentum. They're on a fabulous run. They shouldn't need to be overly reminded, Thomas.
Best defensive record in the league. Cliftonville have the second top scorers and most goals away from home as well. 4 points behind Larne, 8 behind Linfield. They have a game in hand in both of those clubs. As I mentioned earlier, Larne also in action tonight as they take on Newry City. Here's an early free kick though for Carrick Rangers, and they're going to take their time over it. Good experience from David Kersley just to slow things down and get the big men up from the back. Andrew Mitchell tries to and play it through to Daniel Gibson. It was a very odd one, I have to say, from Andrew Mitchell, but it comes to nothing from Carrick Rangers' point of view.
Obviously something that worked on Thomas, and while Andrew expected Daniel to make the run, Daniel didn't make the run until the pass was played.
Swept out towards Joe Gormley. First attack for Cliftonville and a corner kick for the visitors. Heel goes across to take it. Gormley planting himself right on top of the goalkeeper. Little bit of movement in the middle. There's a swirling breeze here. Doesn't beat the first man though, and perhaps we're not taking the conditions into account quite as much, because in both set pieces the deliveries have been very poor. Johnny Addis with a right-footed effort. Little bit of a swinger from the centre half, who scored that stunner, of course, against Newry City. Popped up with a late goal, but the equaliser was so special from Addis outside the box. I don't think, though, David, he scored too many from that type of range with his right.
No, well, in terms of the first one, I compared it to Peter Lorimer of old, and only those lead supporters of a particular generation will remember that. But his second goal that night, I said, was more like Thierry Henry, with a great first touch and then a volley into the back of the net. But having done that a couple of weeks back, there's no reason why Jonathan wasn't to take that on. You're quite right, it was a swinger because he's left-footed. And he hit that with his right.
Nice touch from Hale. Cliftonville trying to start quickly. Rory Hale, good stuff from the goalkeeper Glendenning, who saved with his feet. It was a really good opportunity for the visitors in the opening 3 minutes of this game. Rory Hale linking up well with Joe Gormley. Worked the goalkeeper but couldn't find a way past Glendenning.
Got it in one, Thomas. It's a fantastic save by Ross Glendenning. Down very quickly to save with his feet. And super save.
Hale just tried to pass it past Glendenning. Former Linfield and Glentoran, the goalkeeper, of course, as Sean Stewart goes down the far side, and there's going to be another free kick for Cliftonville. Here's another look at it. Gormley into the path of Hale. And credit to Glendenning, stood up top. Another opportunity this time for his brother Ronan, and it's going to be a Cliftonville free kick from the near side. The visitors have started fast here.
There is intent, Thomas. There really is a major intent in terms of Cliftonville want to get after Carrick nice and early.
Taken short, flags up. I think it's going to be taken again. Cliftonville not too happy with that decision from the assistant his far side, but to his credit, he had the flag up instantly.
I'm just wondering, was the ball maybe not fully in the quadrant, or wasn't even on the line maybe?
The ball's never in the quadrant now. Trent Alexander, I'm a Liverpool fan, and Trent Alexander hasn't ever taken one from inside the quadrant in his career, I don't think.
I'm trying to be kind and support the assistant, Thomas.
Kersley wins it back. Maculatus gets his head up, but good tracking back from the combination of Curran and Doherty, who play in that little bank of two just in front of the Cliftonville defence. Nettis Maculatus started virtually every game for Carrick Rangers this season. It's 175th Irish League appearance. Little nudge in the back from Casey on Gibson. Referee doesn't feel it was sufficient for a free kick though. Casey again. Wins it back. Addis to Doherty. It was a risky pass with Gordon right on top of Doherty, but Cliftonville still managed to move it up the pitch. Turner just calms things down. No pressure on Doherty before he sprays it towards Casey on this near side.
That's the thing, Thomas, that you'll find that Luke Turner will push him one side, Odrin Casey will push the other, which pushes their wing backs even further forward. All three of the centre backs very comfortable on the ball.
Yeah, it's really been a feature of Cliftonville's season, that ability to interchange Gormley. Not sure if that was intentional as he tried to catch out Glendenning, but the goalkeeper was aware that Ian Duran makes a comfortable stop at his near post.
I can tell you now, Thomas, that was intentional. Joseph had no other thought. He wasn't looking for a cross or a pass. He was looking for a pop and goal.
Casey beaten to it by Gibson. Really good strength from him. Finish, though, didn't match. It's going to be an interesting tussle between that pair, David.
Very interesting. Daniel is physically very strong. He's technically very good, and he certainly has justified, you know, what I understand was a considerable outlay to bring him here. You know, the number of goals he scored this season has been pivotal in terms of Carrick's progress.
Yeah, 14 this season, as I mentioned earlier. Some absolute screamers amongst them.
But every time I've watched him, Thomas, he worked so desperately hard for the team. You know, from minute 1 to minute 90 and beyond, really gives us all.
And that is probably the key, especially in the role that Stuart King likes to play him, almost as a lone striker with a diamond in behind.
Yep. You need to be a certain type of player, you know, and one of the basic qualities you've got to have is an appetite for hard work.
28 now. Daniel Gibson. Kersley, club captain, gives it away. Hale couldn't quite find a way past Albert Watson, who stood tall. Shea Kearney Here's Heel. To Curran, the club captain. He started the last 3. Heel finds his brother Ronan, and then the little flick inside towards the arriving Curran.
A feature already, Thomas, is just how Cliftonville are keeping everything on the deck, passing it very quickly, very intricate. You know, the conditions here, you've got to be here to really fully appreciate. The wind is swirling. You know, the pitch is, well, the pitch is as it is at this time of year, but everything's to feet. Even we just earlier on, when Jonathan Addis knocked the ball into Ronan Docherty in the middle of the park, instead of maybe just knocking it along, they're always looking to pass and looking to play.
And we know that plenty of people have praised Cliftonville for the style of play this year. So in some ways, is that a leveler tonight?
Well, up until now, not the case, because they've been the side sort of getting forward, creating chances, and they're certainly not going to change what has served them well all year. You know, and that is very brave and very, very courageous. Obviously, in occasions, you've got to adapt to the pitch, you've got to adapt to the conditions, but they're very much, you know, playing as Cliftonville play.
You're a former manager. You've won it all. What kind of addition has Jim Magilton been to the league overall?
I think he's been a tremendous addition. You know, you've got to think of Jim as a player and all of the experience he has there. Then you think of the experience that he got in England, also down south. You know, I think, and then what he did with the IFA, I think he's a great acquisition. It's fantastic to have him in the Irish League, and as I say, great credit must go to him, because you'll remember, Thomas, at the beginning of the season when his appointment was being announced, he and Jared Little, you know, people, that being Cliftonville people, weren't overly happy. There was lots of songs and lots of dances all about why he shouldn't be there, but he simply let his team do the talking on the pitch, and I don't hear anybody crying or moaning now.
Well, as we talked about earlier, results are all that matter when you're a fan, and Cliftonville have certainly managed to pick them up so far this campaign.
No, they're an outstanding side, tremendous results, and I say that's the one way in which you politely shut people up, by producing results and producing performances, and he's done that tremendously well.
Do you think he'll go right to the bar?
I think so. I think so. On current form, you know, Linfield have come through a difficult period with regards to injuries. They've got players coming back. Stephen Fallon, Joan Cooper last weekend, or two who have come back. You know.
Oh, that's a bit of a lax touch. We'll come back to that. From left Casey a little bit exposed. Here is Gibson. Might have a pop from here. Gibson. Good stop. Danger still not away. That will almost arrive with Kersley, but Odumosu with the initial sea of attack still coming from Carrick Rangers, and they've won themselves a corner kick just after the stop. It almost fell to Kersley right at the edge of the box, but
this is great play here, Thomas. This is fabulous play. Daniel cuts inside. Only one thing in mind, wants to get a shot away.
It's a really strong hand too.
Fantastic hand. That ball was going at pace.
Kersley, really tricky delivery, well held on to by Odumosu.
He really has been impressive this year, and Cliftonville, I'm sure, were absolutely delighted when his loan period was extended, and that was confirmed. Great competition in the goalkeeping area. Gartside is there also.
Yeah, Gartside actually started as number one the first couple of games, and then, you know, once Odumosu got in, he hasn't looked back.
Odumosu has been absolutely superb this year, Thomas, and you just seen him at his best. One, great set of hands, very strong to push the ball away, and then two, on a blustery night, ball whipped in, and he comes and takes the pressure off his defenders. Great goalkeeping.
Yeah, best defensive record in the league, as I mentioned earlier. You can see why. That settled back line of Turner, Addis and Casey in a three. Odumosu behind, and then the two wing backs, young Kearney, who's keeping the likes of Chris Lowe out of the side. He's back fit. Chris Kern as well, the club captain, has played a lot and right back, but Kearney's form has been outstanding. And then the opposite side, Northern under-21 internationals, John Stewart did miss a handful of games after being injured with the 21s, and he's now back on loan, of course, from Norwich City and back in the starting lineup for Jim Magilton. And it's a strong bench too when you look at some of the quality that Cliftonville have.
Well, the wonderful thing is that a consistency of performances then allows for competition for places when you've had your injured players coming back, and you look at the as I say, the options that Jim has on the bench.
And you mentioned the situation at Linfield as well. Nice conundrum for David Healy to have some of those players coming back to fitness at the right time of the season.
Great credit has got to go to those young players who come in, you know, when Linfield were with a number of senior players. You think about young Doherty, being one who's been absolutely fabulous. Rhys Net, being another. They've been really, really good. Young Braden has been good as well.
He's a bit special, isn't he?
Oh my goodness gracious me! But they've come on and done fantastically well. Young Josh Archer is another. And famously, Alan Hansen said you'll win nothing with kids, and then was proved wrong when Manchester United, really shut them up many years ago. But you do need that additional bit of experience. You can't put a big amount of expectation and pressure on the younger players. And as I say, at Linfield now you've got senior players coming back, which just again allows for the competition. Just because they're senior doesn't mean to say they're going to get into the side. They've got to work hard to get back into the team. But it's a similar scenario here, Thomas, where as I say, injured players are coming back, and that adds for competition for places.
You talk about that balance. It's epitomised, if you like, in the Carrick Rangers back line. You've got Forsyth at 21. He's played, 117 games, 100 starts. You've got McKinnon as well, a centre half, just 20. Then Ben Buchanan, Rollerson, who everyone seems to call BRR, and for the benefit of the comedy, we'll do the same, I think, at just 21, alongside Albert Watson and Rhys Glendenning, two players who have been there and seen it for a long time in the Irish League.
Well, young Curtis is an exceptional player and has been around for some time. We obviously have seen the emergence of young McKinnon, but you mentioned Rhys Glendenning and Albert Watson. Rhys Glendenning, another great servant who can play left back, he can play right back. He's now playing at centre back. Fabulous attitude. And then you've Albert, who we've already spoken about.
I think you gave Rhys his debut, didn't he?
Yeah, did indeed. Many years ago. If I remember correctly, it was away to Ballinamallard. In fact, I think maybe Ross on the same day. Two great boys. I know they're, as I say, they just are good people and lads you could trust.
Just over a quarter of an hour played here. Still scoreless. Got a bit of treat for you at half-time as well. An interview with Gary Hamilton when he names the best 11 players he hasn't played with in the Irish League. I think you'll be interested when you hear it, David. Plenty of talking points, but that's to come at half-time. On the pitch right now, it's Rory Hale, a player that I think Gary Hamilton would love to have played with as well.
That's great feat. You can only admire that. Fantastic feat. Looking to get the shot away, but Big Ross, commanding, safe hands, in charge.
Alice gets out in front of Gibson. Casey then wins it again. He certainly seems to be the player who's closest to Gibson the majority of the time, Oran Casey. Oh, it's lovely from Gibson. Burrowed it down and got away from the Cliftonville defender. Wins aside a corner kick, and that's probably what you were referring to earlier, the selfless stuff, not the stuff that strikers live for, but you win your side a corner kick, you move them up the pitch, you relieve a bit of pressure.
Well, he's taking three centre-backs on him. On this occasion it's Audrey Casey, other occasions it's been Jonathan Addis, other times it's been Luke Turner, but it doesn't faze him. Knows exactly what he's doing. No one's really in the box, wants to try and get a corner and gets one. Fantastic centre-forward play.
It's going to be Mitchell from this side. Hasn't played a great deal this season, Andrew Mitchell. And it's headed away at the near post by Curran. Rory Hale can't take it down, and neither can Gormley. Back with Mitchell. Oh, it's left by Cushley, and there's a bobble off the pitch. It's provided an opportunity for Joe Gormley. Couldn't squeeze it across to Hale. On the far side, his brother Rory was making a run on the near side, and it was in between the two of them.
Great defending by Curtis Forsyth. Little bit of lack of communication between David and Reese. Sees Joseph get away very quickly. Looks to get the ball in the box, but Curtis was across and cleared the danger.
We've mentioned on a couple of occasions, the elements are having an impact here.
Oh, there's no doubt. Absolutely no doubt.
Particularly at pitch level, when you see the way the ball's reacting. It's a pass right through the middle from Addis. Lovely from Forsyth. Just lifted it over Sean Stewart. Maculat is trying to go on that left foot. Mitchell, his first time cross is easily dealt with by Johnny Addis. There's one back by Stephen Gordon. Buchanan Rowlandson. Cross still comes in from Gibson, but nobody was there in amber and black.
We're applauding the football of Cliftonville. Thomas, that was fantastic play, by Carrick. All one-touch stuff, with a final pass by David Cushley to Daniel Gibson, who did tremendously well to get the ball into the box.
Carrick are starting to find their rhythm, aren't they?
Well, they're playing with the confidence of a team who are in 6th.
Doherty. Oh, he disguised that pass really well, but then Albert Watson just well, I'm not sure how to describe what he did, but he just basically blocked Joe Gormley. The two of them had a little laugh as we look back at the chance for Carrick a moment ago. I think that duo have had plenty of battles over the years, and that was just another one to add to the list. How would you describe that, David?
I would say that Albert was irremovable.
Yes, Newton's law, isn't it?
That's something like that, Thomas.
Addis did very well to get that across to Turner, because his touch was a little bit heavy, and Cushley almost managed to pickpocket him. Across to Casey. Carrick Rangers have won just one of their last 27 games against Cliftonville. You have to go all the way back to 1995 for that. There have been 4 draws then. The only victory since 1995 was back in January 2020. And this is a moment we're referring to. Joe tried to get through. Albert said no. No complaints, no appeals, just a smile between two fierce competitors who have seen it all.
They shall not pass.
Well, speaking of passing, Joe Gormley is 1 assist away from 100. And it's not normally a stat that I use, but he is always recognised as Joe the goal scorer, almost a kind of a selfish player in that regard. But he's weighed in with quite a few assists down through the years.
Thomas, I'm going to say something which is some people will think absolutely daft, but I don't think Joe has ever been given a full appreciation of the overall talent that he has. He's a great team player. He's not just about scoring goals. By that statistic, obviously it's about his assists also, but another one who gets the whole team ethic, the whole work ethic of the team, and that doesn't surprise me.
And while we're on that, I'm going to throw in Jordan Owens to that conversation too, because I think when you look at his stats, everyone sees him as a club's record goal scorer, but it's astonishing how many goals have come off Jordan Owens down through the years, as well, and how he's laid off passes to Cushley and Hinckley and White and Dallas and everyone else down through the years.
Absolutely correct, Thomas. It's funny how people can be, labelled, in a very stereotypical way, and without having all of their games fully appreciated.
There's going to be a long throw coming up from the far side, and Doherty scored a brilliant goal against Ballymena last week. He's managed to carve aside a corner. past the midway point of this first half. Still scoreless here.
Yeah, and to be fair, Thomas, very, very even, Stephen. As I say, Cliftonville started off particularly brightly, but you know, Carrick Rangers have certainly got themselves right back in the game and are contributing very much.
Not far up the road, it's still scoreless between Larne and Uri City too. Oh, it's whipped in. It was disguised by Hale, almost trying to catch the goalkeeper out, I think, and half of an effort on goal, but it looped over the top and it comes to nothing once more.
Yeah. Wind assisted, I would suggest.
Cliftonville haven't lost in the league since the start of November. That was against Dungannon Swifts. Just 3 defeats so far this season for the Swifts, Linfield and Larne. Turner across to Casey. He's quietly become a very important player for Cliftonville, hasn't he?
Audrey Casey first came to my attention when he was actually out on loan.
Uri, was it?
For Uri, correct. And we being Ballymena United at the time, were playing Uri City in the Irish Cup semi-final. And we went down to watch him against, I think Uri were playing Ballyclare that day, and he stood out massively. You know, his progression, you know, he was very good at his loan spell. You know, obviously helped big style, but he really is a talent.
He had to be patient because there were times that he played in midfield and Paddy McLaughlin was, you could see, was trying to integrate him in, was maybe trying to give him that chance, but with 4 at the back there maybe wasn't that opportunity given how well Addison Turner were playing. But in the 3 system of the 2 wing backs under Jim Magilton and Jared Little, it certainly worked for him, and he's played virtually every game.
Suits him brilliantly.
Here towards Gormley, no real effort. Sorry, no real power in the effort.
Just to finish off about Audrin is that he's played it right back, centre back, but he can play in the middle of the park. There's the ball into the box. Not really an awful lot that Joseph could have done with that. I would suggest if Audrin continues to progress, he could be another candidate for people across the water looking at him. He really is that good in my opinion.
Just 21,
yeah.
Almost 100 games.
Yep.
Clash of heads between 2 players. I think it's Kern and Stephen Gordon who go down, and you can see both sets of players going to the opposition players to make sure they're both okay. Both medical teams on very quickly.
Yeah, certainly from my viewpoint, you know, it's 2 people going for the ball. Oh. Maybe Christopher didn't have his eyes as much on the ball.
Well, I think that's the point that Stuart King is making to the 4th official down there. And is continuing to make. Still scores at Larne. Almost half an hour played there as well. Linfield in action tomorrow. They welcome Dungannon Swifts to Windsor Park. Looks like Stephen Gordon is going to be okay, as is Chris Kern, and the free kick is going to go the way of Carrick Rangers. No cards up.
No, Stephen is a tough day. Of that, there's no doubt.
Started the last 10 games for Carrick Rangers. Here's Gibson. No space to work with on the near side, and after initially the decision was given against him and he shook his head, the referee has reversed it, so he'll be a little bit happier now. very, very congested. And this time the free kick goes against Gibson. And Cliftonville work it out from the back. Cliftonville have won 11 of their last 12 games against Carrick Rangers. Before the game, we watched the last encounter between these two sides. Hale Brothers amongst the scores for that one.
You know, I think probably most folk, when you look at those stats, you were expecting just Cliftonville just to basically arrive here and just walk away with the 3 points, but Carrick are just at a different place at this moment in time, given the progress, and it wouldn't surprise me if they got something out of the game. And saying that, they're coming up to a real challenge tonight against a really talented Cliftonville side who are playing so consistently well.
Gibson can't find Maculatis. Addis just stepped up and won it back. It appeared it could perhaps have come off the arm of Watson, but there were no appeals there. Again, it was down to how the ball bounced off the surface, and it has been fairly scrappy, it has to be said. A lot of that due to the window at this venue. You can see the clearances aren't going that far. The ball's very difficult to judge when it's in the air. There's another free kick. This time for the challenge of Curran on Gibson. Quarter of an hour to go until the half-time interval. Best chances of the game have fallen to Cliftonville. Probably the biggest was in the opening couple of minutes. The effort from Hale. Fly's going to be up against Gibson, and on first glance you're not convinced, David?
I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced. Daniel is very, very quick, but as is Luke Turner. He has good recovery, and it just looked as if Daniel had timed his run particularly well, but
away by Glendenning. Falls for Casey and then taken down by Curran. Otamusu, who made that good stop from Gibson with a stinging effort. Decides to go long and look for Hale. Wind's certainly picking up here. As you can see by that clearance. Kersley. Buchanan, Rollerson.
anything which isn't on the ground is going to be subject to the swirling wind.
And after you described how Cliftonville started the game, it was good football, it was on the deck despite the surface perhaps, but that's kind of gone by the wayside in the last 10 minutes or so, and I don't think Manchester City could play that type of football on a night like this.
No. The wind is certainly, increased. It really is gusting here.
Chris Gallagher has scored for Larne, his first goal for the club, to give Tiernan Lynch's side a 1-0 advantage against Newry City. Former Cliftonville player, of course, Gallagher. Shea Gordon's on the bench. He arrived at Solitude as part of the deal. And the champions have the advantages just after the half-hour mark at Inver Park. Two of the top three in action this evening. Forsyth recovered well. And it's Mitchell who looks for Gibson. Turner very composed though in the challenge and gets it back from Addis.
Daniel could do with just a little bit more support a little bit earlier. We've talked about his appetite, Thomas, and taking whatever centre back on. But you know, when it's 1 against 3, when he is pushing, when he is pressing, you know, then he needs his.
And is that from Maculatus? Is that from Cushley, or is it maybe from a runner from even deeper?
Well, it's certainly from David Cushley in the first, and Maculatus also. But also David is dropping in centrally, so on occasion, and you know, it's maybe even going to be Curtis Forsyth if he's pushed himself up there. But as I say, that's what Daniel could do, just a little bit more with a little bit more support, a little bit more help, and then all of that hard work and all of that energy, you know, could maybe get reward.
Addis brings it forward. Don't think too many defenders are going to be stepping off Johnny Addis as he strides forward with the ball, maybe that they perhaps would have before that Newry City goal.
Well, to be fair to him, Thomas, I remember him scoring a goal from the halfway line.
Yeah.
When he was at Ballymena United.
Against Larne?
Against Larne, correct. And dare anyone say that he didn't mean it?
Casey. Perhaps a little bit casual as he tried to find Curran.
We can hear cries from the Cliftonville supporters of shoot. You know, and
why not? Certainly on a windy night like this, if it's behind you, it would perhaps be in your best interest to have a go. Here's Doherty. Kearney just tried to nip in between, I think it was Gordon and the goalkeeper. Everyone left it for a moment. Just a little bit disjointed, and while it was patient from Cliftonville's point of view, it wasn't really hurting Carrick Rangers.
There's the difficulty just summed up now. There's Ross. Glendenning is trying to get strike the balls, not hitting a halfway line, and going from central then out to the sidelines. You know, I'm trying to work out who has got an advantage, if anybody, Thomas.
Yeah, kind of glancing across. The flags seem to be changing direction.
Correct. It's absolutely correct.
Throw in for Cliftonville. 10 minutes to go to the break. I'm sure both managers wouldn't mind just getting their teams together to settle them a little bit and try and find a way not just to break down the opposition, but break down the weather and maybe tinker a little bit with their game plan.
Well, Cliftonville started very, very brightly. Carrick came into it. Cliftonville have now sort of taken charge again. Any attacks forward from Carrick Rangers are sporadic, but certainly defensively, Carrick are very sound.
Hale. Gormley, will he have a pop? Certainly wanted to, but couldn't quite manage to get it down. I'm always reluctant to do this, David, but there's never been a scoreless draw between these two sides of Taylor's Avenue.
I knew, Thomas, you were going to bring that stat up.
Who was going to break first?
I thought earlier on, that was another one that Marshall Gillespie sent through just. I thought, will I use that to sound clever? I thought,
no. You have to go for it,
because David. I thought if I come up with that, it's something else, you know. So well done on you, Thomas.
Have faith.
Yeah,
there are going to be goals.
Well done on you, Tom.
Buchanan Rollison has looked really solid on the left-hand side. Obviously, no Ben Tinley. He's going to be back soon.
Yes, you certainly miss those marauding runs, don't you?
He's been a great sign.
He's done tremendously well since he arrived here from Larne.
But credit to the youngster Buchanan Rollison, who's also played in the middle and has looked very solid there. He's played the last handful of games in Tilney's absence, and sure King didn't want to break up the lineup that performed so well against Coleraine. So even though Tilney's very close and perhaps could have been risky, he felt that the youngster deserved that spot.
But that's what gets you the competition, Thomas, you know, in your squad. When you have a youngster who comes in and does particularly well, you know, and gets a run of games, you know, I always say, you know, injuries can give opportunities, and opportunities, as I say, to others, and sometimes invariably to younger players who then get in, who go on a great run of form, and suddenly, you know, rather than have an established player and then someone else who will fill in and cover, you then have two people vying for, you know, for a position.
Yeah, certainly over the course of a season, it's all about a squad. You look at some of the squads up and down the league decimated by injuries at this point, and managers are maybe having to take a chance, giving a youngster an opportunity. That's a superb ball to find one of the players who has been given an opportunity, particularly this season, young Shea Carrick. Good tackle from Casey, just managed to outnumber Gibson alongside Captain Curran. Here is Carrick. Heel. Has a pot shot. He was a long way out, but I think he was perhaps like a golfer, almost trying to use the wind there to see if it would drift inside.
Speculative. Strikes across the ball.
He does look up, and,
yeah,
and I think he thinks, you know, may as well have a go and see what happens here. 8 goals this year for Rory Hale. Scored 3 for Cliftonville against Carrick Rangers in the past couple of seasons. Every time he's found a net this year, Cliftonville have been on the winning side. Again, you see Glendenning unable to find a halfway line, and he struck that very well.
He did. Technique and all was first class. Drove right through the ball. It was almost like slow motion. You could see the ball, the trajectory of the ball just slowing down.
And you can see how frustrated that's made him as well.
When we talk about injuries to squads, you know, Thomas, and to be fair, you've got to think about Larney at the beginning of the season. Had a number of players who were out and who were unavailable, and it took a little time for even Larne to get into their pace. But they, like Linfield, seem to have most, if not all, of their players back competing.
They had Marcus Rashford at the ground yesterday.
Yes.
Don't think they're trying to sign him, though. I think that would be quite the coup in January, but he was overseeing his good friend who's recently joined the club, and Cliftonville won themselves a free kick over in the far side. Sean Stewart, on loan from Norwich City, the Northern Ireland under-21 international. Everyone's forward for this set piece. Be a great time for Cliftonville to score with half-time approaching. Gormley can't quite get his toe to it, and I think the referee considered blowing his whistle there, but instead decided to play advantage, as Carrick Rangers looked like they could well have been on the counter-attack. Ball drifts over the head of Turner and out for a kill.
That was good defending, I've got to say, Thomas, by the Carrick defence. Ball was just put into that area between the back line and the goalkeeper. Just watch here. Well, that was the second one, actually. But the free kick, as I say, was particularly well defended.
The other stat that I couldn't believe, given where they are in the table, is that Carrick Rangers have the second worst defensive record in the league. Only Newry City, here bottom, have conceded more goals. They haven't looked like that tonight.
No, they have not. Very well organised. You know, everyone's very sharp in terms of their own individual battles.
I think that's what you were referring to.
Yes, we were talking to. Thank you very much, Mr. McCutcheon. Well done, Big Gary, for getting that back for us. That's exactly the point I was making. Ball, really well put into that very dangerous area where the goalie really doesn't want to come, and that's where you're looking for your defenders to stand up and get their head on it.
Casey. Just get the impression that Cliftonville are pushing for that goal before half-time. It would be a real boost going into the dressing room.
Well, as we said,
a corner.
As we said, Thomas, they've been in the ascendancy, this last week period. Certainly Carrick aren't desperate in their defending, but they're having to work particularly hard defensively.
Gormley lurking. 4 or 5 players lined up, ready to attack the back post. One of them's Addis. Goalwards, Turner, smothered on the line and away by Glendenning. Brilliant defending from him. Danger still not away. Addis again with an outstretched leg after Turner got his head to it, and it's held by Glendenning. This is a first chance. Addis nods it back in. Turner, it was Glendenning, Rhys Glendenning that was, who got there ahead of his brother, the goalkeeper. Then again, it was actually the Carrick Rangers player, I think it was Gordon, who flicked it goalwards, and Addis couldn't quite get there, but another decent chance.
That was a vital intervention by Rhys Glendenning.
Ronan Hale over eager, not happy with the decision.
Ball into the back post. Jonathan Addis headed it back in again. Luke Turner looked as if he was going to bury it, but Rhys got there, and great piece of defending. Absolutely top drawer.
Final few seconds of normal time in this first half. No goals. I think both managers will be happy enough to go into the dressing room and get warmed up.
Well, neither can complain about the work rate or the effort or the commitment from their players on a difficult night. Attitude and application is excellent from both sets of players.
It's going to be 1 minute of additional time.
Cliftonville started very, very brightly, very much in the upper foot, very quick. They were looking to press and to probe and looking to penetrate very early. Great save from Ross Glendenning. And then Carrick came back in, then Odomuso makes a fantastic save from Daniel Gibson. And then Cliftonville sort of took charge again.
Maculatis can't skip away from Doherty. I think that'll be the final attack of this first half, with the seconds ticking down. We have just played the allotted minute, and referee Tony Clark asked for the match ball as the two squads retreat to the dressing room. Plenty of thinking to do for Stuart King and Jim Magilton. A first half of very...
Give me a second, I need to get my story straight. My friends are in the bathroom getting higher than the Empire State. My lover, she is waiting for me just across the bar. My seat's been taken by some sunglasses, asking about a scar. And I know I gave it to you months ago. I know you're trying to forget, but between the drinks and subtle things, the holes in my apologies, you know, I'm trying hard to take it back. So if by the time the bar closes and you feel like falling down, I'll carry you home tonight. We are young, so let's set the world on fire. We can burn brighter than the sun tonight. We are young, so let's set the world on fire. We can burn brighter than the sun. No, I know that I'm not all that you got. I guess that I just thought maybe we could find new ways to fall apart. But our friends are back, so let's raise a toast. 'Cause I found someone to carry me home tonight. the bar closes and you feel like falling down, I'll carry you home tonight.
As you promised me that I was more than all the miles combined, you must have had yourself a change of heart like halfway through the drive, because your voice trailed off exactly as you passed my exit sign. Kept on driving straight and left our future to the right. Now I am stuck between my anger and the blame that I can't face, and memories or something even smoking weed does not replace. And I am terrified of weather, cause I see you when it rains. Doc told me to travel, but there's COVID on the planes. And I love Vermont, but it's the season of the sticks. And I saw your mom, she forgot that I existed. And it's half my fault, but I just like to play the victim. I'll drink alcohol till my friends come home for Christmas. And I'll dream each night of some version of you that I might not have, but I did not lose. Now your tire tracks in one pair of shoes, and I'm split in half, but that'll have to do. So I thought that if I piled something good and all my bad, that I could cancel out the darkness I inherited from Dad. No, I am no longer funny, cause I miss the way you laugh. You once called me forever, now you still can't call me back. And I love Vermont, but it's the season of the sticks. And I saw your mom, she forgot that I existed. And it's half my fault, but I just like to play the victim. I'll drink alcohol till my friends come home for Christmas. And I'll dream each night of some version of you that I might not have, but I did not lose. Now your tire tracks in one pair of shoes, and I'm split in half, but that'll have to do. Oh, that'll have to do. My other half was you. I hope this pain's just passing through, but I doubt it. And I love Vermont, but it's the season of the sticks. And I saw your mom, she forgot that I existed. And it's half my fault, but I just like to play the victim. I'll drink alcohol till my friends come home for Christmas. And I'll dream each night of some version of you that I might not have, but I did not lose. Now your tire tracks in one pair of shoes, and I'm split in half, but that'll have to do, have to do.
like a small boat on the ocean, sending big waves into motion, like how a single word can make a heart open. I might only have one match, but I can make an explosion. And all those things I didn't say were wrecking balls inside my brain. I will scream loud tonight. Can you hear my voice this time? This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on. Starting right now. I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes, 'cause I've still got a lot of fight left in me. Losing friends and I'm chasing sleep. Everybody's worried about me. In too deep. Say I'm in too deep. And it's been 2 years, I miss my home, but there's a fire burning in my bones. Still believe, yeah, I still believe. And all those things I didn't say were wrecking balls inside my brain. I will scream loud tonight. Can you hear my voice this time? This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on. Starting right now. I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes, 'cause I've still got a lot of fight left in me. A lot of fight left in me. Like a small boat on the ocean, sending big waves into motion.
So say, oh, so he didn't sign because of money. Yeah,
Can
well,
make a heart
yes, but it was much more than that. What a fantastic young man, superb player, and the regret that I have is that I never had the opportunity. Other than that game that he talked about, it was a Northern Irish League team that played against an English league side, and what a joy for him to play. He was different class.
Second half is underway, but just if there's a little lull in the action here, obviously we'll go back to the game if anything happens. But what did you make of his team?
I thought his team was interesting.
Any surprises in there?
Yes, you know, as I say, probably he and I would disagree. For example, Liam Boyce has done fantastically well, superb player. Glenn Ferguson, for me, we would certainly agree on Noel Bailey. But as I say, football's all about opinions.
Well, thank you very much to Gary for being so honest, and hopefully we'll see him back in the game very soon. Let us know your thoughts on social media. Get in touch at BBC Sport NI. Joel Taggart managing to tease it out of him, and Gary Hamilton being very honest about some of the players that he wasn't lucky enough to be a teammate of, but he would have loved to have had them in his squad. Quite a few of them, of course, have gone on to become Northern Ireland internationals as well. Some of them still playing in the Irish League as Stuart King enjoys his half-time cup of tea. Thank you very much to Carrick Rangers, who warmed us up with one at the break. It's very much needed on a wet and wintry night here.
I've got to say, Thomas, it was lovely to see Judy Hill down here at Carrick. He was at Linfield many years ago. I remember Judy as a young boy, and he's now down here working, I think, with the under-18 side, but also playing his part very much as a volunteer with the club. And thank you to Judy and to the kind lady whose name I don't know for supplying us with tea and coffee and a whole lot of goodies.
Thank you very much. It is much appreciated. I think the fans would appreciate a goal from this. Throw in a little bit more of his Glendenning, who fired it into the penalty area. Don't think there have been any changes at the break for either side as Heel picks it up. Unable to link up with Gormley. Rhys Glendenning back to Ross Glendenning. We mentioned their impact in the first half. The save from Ross early on, the defensive clearance from Rhys after that effort from Turner. Here's Gibson. Driven across the 6-yard box, and I think the goalkeeper, Odemusu, had it covered all the way. It's another sign, no, David, that Gibson isn't afraid to back himself in situations like that.
Absolutely not. And so he should do. You know, his performance tonight, you know, he's the one really decent effort on goals, Thomas. But, you know, it's 14 goals to date. Should fill him full of confidence, and he'll hit on every occasion.
Still 1-0 to Larne against Newry City just up the road. Half-time as well in that game. Slightly later kickoff there at Inver Park. It's actually 8 o'clock kickoff. Here's Curran. Back to Casey and Addis. Heel. Just trying to nip in behind the defender. This little miscue from Watson, and again, that's another example of how difficult it is to judge the flight of the ball in the breeze. Albert Watson looked to have that covered all the way, and then
very much so,
it
Thomas.
just deviated, and all of a sudden it was almost an opportunity for Ronan Hale.
He was about to put his head through it, and suddenly there was no ball there.
This has been a tactic as well. Oh, no, they're not going to do it now, but it's been a tactic at Cliftonville to have two takers standing over the corner just to mix things up, whether it would be the left foot of Stewart or the right foot of Hale. Addison, Turner, the two main targets in the middle. Casey also lurking. Could fall for Doherty. Still Doherty. Blocked by the Carrick Rangers defender. Two players flung themselves at the ball just as Doherty was trying to fashion a shot. Poor clearance from Odemusu. And two Carrick Rangers players got in each other's way. Hale's gonna hit it from distance, and it could well go out for another corner kick, just avoided by Glendenning. Now, both sides haven't been afraid to have a go from long range at the start of this second half. I wonder if that's been a message from the two managers at the break. It skids off the head of Turner back to Odemusu, and I hate to say it, David, but the way the conditions are, you fear that it's one of those games that could well be decided by a miscue or a mistake rather than a moment of brilliance.
Wouldn't surprise me, Thomas. You know, we just got to look, you know, minutes ago there with Albert. You know, he didn't misplace, he didn't miss time, just the ball was there, and then it wasn't.
Gordon. Does look to be slightly more direct from Carrick's point of view since the break.
Well, certainly they've started with an intent. As I say, they finished the half having to defend and defend very well. But Stewart's obviously encouraged them to get out of the blocks quickly at the start of the second half.
Casey. Home side have gone very deep, it has to be said. Up front, Gibson's the only real player who's inside the Cliftonville half. Gormley hasn't got much change out of Watson so far tonight. Gormley hasn't scored in his last 7 games. It doesn't happen too often for him. Mitchell, it's a good ball in. Off the head of Stewart, still not dealt with. Goalkeeper misses it, and Gordon can't quite get there. Who is gonna get the next touch? Addis used his body well to outmaneuver the Carrick Rangers attacker, and well, if you talk about let-offs, that is a big, big one.
And you're not going to say to you, just watch this again. Ball comes up, headed up in the air by young Stewart.
The goalkeeper's fallen awkwardly as well. He's down.
He's fallen
looking at attention.
Yeah, but he actually collided with his own player. I don't think he's overly hurt, to be fair to him. He's maybe just taking a couple of minutes to get the wind back into the lungs. But you know, it was so pleasing that Tony Clark didn't, you know, immediately blow the whistle, and you know, because usually you find when there's bodies in and around the goalie.
Let's see the only goal of the game so far at Inver Park as we have this break at Carrick Rangers. Nice build-up play from the home side. Aaron Donnelly involved, so too Thompson. There's the ball in, bonus. Looks like it's going to fall for Gallagher, and what a way to open your account for your new club. Chris Gallagher giving Larne the advantage.
Thomas, what a strike. Christopher Gallagher didn't half connect with that.
Here comes the corner kick. It's right on top of the goalkeeper, but loops just over the crossbar. Do you think we'll see a different type of Chris Gallagher playing for Larne? Because with Glentoran and Cliftonville, he was predominantly the holder. He was predominantly the number 6, if you like. Okay, it might be his first goal, and he's maybe just been given that chance outside the box has fallen to him, but might he push up the pitch a little bit further under Larne?
He certainly will give Tiernan options, you know, and as I say, defensively, he can be that man who patrols in front of the back 4 or a back 3, depending what you're playing. But to be really honest with you, Thomas, he is technically such a good footballer. You know, he's as comfortable playing further forward, and you've just, you know, seen the quality of that goal. Technique and strike was absolutely superb.
Well, it's been a difference at Inver Park between Larne and Uri City. Another full-blooded challenge this time from Mitchell. Rory Hale felt it should have been a throw in the Cliftonville. Homesider arguably having their best period of the game so far. They had that chance a moment ago.
Well, certainly they've been the better side. Good old-fashioned challenge.
Jim Magilton watching on. Hale trying to get involved again, but I think it's for Scythe who wins a throw in this time. Ten minutes into this second half.
Big Albert Watson going forward, I see. Kind of getting the end of this David Cushley long throw.
Here it comes from the near side.
Oh, sorry.
Cushley looking on the edge of the box like he so often does, and Glendenning then switches it back to Mitchell. Doesn't quite have the legs to get there though. It's scrappy, it's disjointed at times from both sides. Wonder will both managers be looking at their bench thinking, what options do they have to try and mix things up? Mitchell's going to have another go with the long throw. Doesn't have a huge amount of room to run up and launch it. A couple of locals there with ice creams. Brave men on a night like this.
Yep, Albert hasn't gone this time, which is telling.
Stewart picks it up in his stride and continues his run. Matched by the young defender Buchanan Rollinson, though. Really good play from him. Helped out by McKinnon also. Gormley, that's an intelligent ball, opens up the play on the right-hand side where Clifton will have numbers over. Hale. Corner kick, and that's good defending because he was certainly outnumbered over there, the young left-back. Didn't want to take any chances.
No, young BBR was isolated there. Good job he got to the ball quickly. Albeit that he did concede the corner.
You can hear Stuart King just trying to make sure everyone's marked in the middle. Stuart's ball in. Away by Gibson, who's back helping on his own defence. Matt Galatas, if he can get turned, Gibson's powering forward, and it's an opportunity to counter-attack. Here he is again, little flick inside. Matt Galatas dragged back. We are going to have the first booking of the game, and it's for Rory Hale, and I think he will feel it's a tackle he had to make.
Absolutely no choice, and that's one where he's had to take it for the team. Don't like saying it, but was that professional foul? Young McAllister did fantastically well out of our camera shot. Daniel Gibson is making a great run, you know, making himself available for that return pass, and hence the need for the foul to be committed.
Mitchell just had too much on it.
Yeah, given the wind, you've got to take a little off it.
Heel. And that epitomises young Curtis Forsyth. Does brilliantly, first of all, to deny Hale, then skip around two Cliftonville players. He's grown as the game has gone on. He's grown as his Carrick Rangers career has evolved.
And now young Oromuso is having the difficulties which Ross Glendenning had in terms of clearing his lines.
Yeah, I don't think it's particularly a night where the goalkeepers will relish any kind of a back pass. Oromuso.
No, he should only be going back to the goalkeeper if it's an absolute last resort.
Well, here he is in the ball again. Such is the nature of the modern game that goalkeepers do tend to be on the ball a growing amount. That's well worked out to Curran. Now it starts to open up a little bit. Thought about finding Hale, but instead Shea Kearney is the target. Doherty. Hale. Rory Hale might fancy this. Well blocked though by Watson. Flung himself in the way of it. Hale again, trying to make things happen. Two players ran into one another. It was Turner and Cushley, I think. It was another awkward one. This one was, it appeared, was completely accidental because Hale had gone after the ball. This is the effort a few seconds earlier, but
well, that's great defending from Albert Watson. Yet again, putting his body on the line. Proper old school defending.
And this is an incident a few seconds after.
Yeah, and I've got to agree with Tony Clark. David Cushley did commit the free
Turner
kick.
tries to get in the end of it. It's lifted in quickly by Hale. Played round the corner. Cushley's in a foot race with Hale. Cushley tries to use his body, goes down, and I think that was more in hope than expectation. Two games away from 600 now.
Yeah, just a
David
word.
Cushley.
Just a word on David Cushley. You know, so it's coming to Carrick. No way in the world was that a free kick or even a penalty, but you know, David has really embraced the captain's role. He's taken that armband. He has led by example. Watched him several times playing for Carrick, and I can't help but being impressed with just his application and his attitude, which, to be fair, in his younger days mightn't have been one of his stronger points. He was known as, you know, technically very good, someone who could score some fantastic, wonderful goals, either from set pieces or long-range shots. But he has added that additional asset, which is working really hard for the team.
Curran, it's blocked. Hale, big moment, big challenge, follow-up effort into the side netting. Well, we've spoken about Albert Watson countless times tonight. We spoke about him before the game, but that is another telling interception right when Carrick Rangers needed him most.
That is an absolutely outstanding block by Albert Watson. That is a man at 38 years of age. Look at him. Look at him. He's encouraging his teammates. Come on, fellas. Let's get together. Let's stand up here and be big and strong. Absolutely phenomenal defending from the big man. Doesn't care at all, and kept his arms down. Well done, Albert.
I must admit, when I spoke to him at Inver Park last year after winning the league title, I thought he might retire, he might walk away from the game. Certainly when you see the enthusiasm and the passion that he had there in the last 30 seconds, I think that explains why he's kept going.
Well, in the evidence of that, you've got to say the big man isn't done yet.
Third oldest player to play in the Irish League this year. The only two born before him, Sean Ward of Glenavon and Stephen Maguire of Newry City. Forsyth wins it. Kersley, Forsyth powering forward. I think he's going to run in the room though.
Yeah, that's got nothing to do with weight of pass there. That's simply the wind sort of taking the ball away. But yet again, you see the enthusiasm, desire of young Curtis Forsyth to get forward.
Watson again. Ronan Hale. No, it's going to be a free kick for a little nudge of Gibson on Johnny Addis. Cliftonville trying to work it quickly. Match starting to open up a little bit more. "25 minutes to go. Both teams have had opportunities in this second half. Carrick Rangers, after the ball was spilt by the Cliftonville goalkeeper, and then that Hale chance moments ago. Gormley trying to get him behind, and this time the decision goes against Gormley and for Albert Watson. Good defending again. Used his body.
Great defending. Albert got himself in front of Joseph, and in an attempt to get the ball, Joseph simply pushed the big man over.
Former Ballymena, Linfield, Lauren player, of course, Albert Watson. Hooked forward, and Gibson goes and chase. He just never gives up on any cause. Daniel Gibson. Flag was up this time, though. Could be a big 20 minutes coming up for Cliftonville season. Still a long way to go, of course, in the campaign, but given the form of the two sides above them and the fact that Larne are leading tonight, you do feel as if any points dropped will result in Jim Magilton's side moving further and further out of the title race. 8 behind going into the weekend fixtures. Linfield in action tomorrow. Glendenning punches it away. Everyone was back for Carrick Rangers, are now waiting to support Maculatus. Gibson, the only Carrick player forward, and this one back by Hale. Rory Hale tries to spot the run of Gormley. Curran. Crossed it. Kearney. Lovely little bit of skill. Did he keep it in play? Yes, he did. Did that squirm into play? No, it didn't. Midway through this second half, just have a little glance down to see if there's any activity in the two benches, and looks like the new signing James Teelan's going to come on for Carrick Rangers. This would be his debut. Signing was only confirmed yesterday.
Yeah, James is a young player of great talent, great ability. Maybe just didn't get the opportunities that he would have liked in his first part of his career at Crusaders. And obviously to make sure that he's playing regular first team football, they've maybe given him to Carrick, obviously loaned him to Carrick where that might come more readily. But he certainly is a talent. Technically very good and certainly quick feet also.
Cushley makes way. I'm not sure if he's picked up a knock there. He seems to be holding his side, David Cushley. Also appears as if Shea Gordon's going to come on.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me. David may be carrying a knock, but I've got to say, he worked his absolute socks off, Thomas. You know, he left nothing out there. I was actually wondering just how long could he keep going at the rate that he was.
Turner does brilliantly to find Curran. Checks back. Gormley. Good first touch. Skips past one. Takes a tumble. No penalty, says the referee. One back by Hale. His brother Rory wants it outside him. Still plenty in the middle.
Everything's just being cranked up a little bit more now, Thomas.
Time ticking down. And David, you can hear this, the fans willing the ball in almost behind the Carrick goal. That's where all the Cliftonville supporters are situated.
Yeah, that group of them were almost trying to suck the ball in there, Thomas. Looks like Shea Gordon is going to get his opportunity.
Yeah, I mentioned that Chris Gallagher, of course, scored for Larne. Shea Gordon moved in the opposite direction from Inver Park to Solitude as part of that deal. Northern Ireland Underage International, played a lot of games in Scotland before joining up with Tiernan Lynch's side. Very highly rated. Joe Crow's also come on. He was suspended last week and hasn't been able to force his way back into the team. Another experienced midfielder, former Linfield and Glentoran player, of course. And I have to say, Dave, he has one of my favourite nicknames in local football, the Sandy Row Mascherano. I just think it's hard to beat. Off comes Curran, on comes Gordon.
And when we're talking about strength and depth and having, you know, viable options, there's an example where Cliftonville squad, you know, is strong. Chris Curran, who've been out for quite some time, certainly made a big contribution there this evening. Maybe just about running out of legs a little bit, and you couldn't blame him for that, but they had to bring the likes of Gordon on.
You've also got another new signing in Ben Wiley on the bench, player you know all about, of course.
Yep, similarly there's Joe Crow has come on for Carrick, with Andy Mitchell having made way.
Gormley flicks it on. Gordon also almost involved straight away. Has a little nibble at it just in the edge of the box. Doherty waited for that one and showed remarkable patience in doing so, with Crow bearing down on him. Gibson still tussling with Casey. Gibson comes out on top. Will he have a go himself? Yes, he will. Driven goalwards powerfully. It's spilled by the goalkeeper, and Teelan can't quite get there first.
That is a fantastic effort by Daniel Gibson. Makes this all himself. missed out the challenge that he had with Jonathan Addis. Only one thing in mind, drives the ball in. Oromuso gets his body behind it.
And it's another corner kick to Carrick Rangers. Glendenning. Turner gets there. And then flicked away by Heel, but only as far as Albert Watson. Ball bouncing about, isn't really dealt with. Thielen. Nice little bit of footwork, but doesn't really make too much headway. Two-0 Lauren. Tomas Cosgrove with the second for Tiernan Lynch's side.
Good week for Tomas. Scored the winner for Lauren against Glentoran in the County Antrim Shield.
Back in the score sheet again tonight. Thielen. He loses out just when it looked like it was going to open up for him. The game is starting to get a little bit stretched. Kearney drifts inside. Casey goes out towards the right back berth. Now, David, this is interesting because I thought the fact that Jim Magilton name-checked young Ryan Carrick and a 16-year-old before the game, he's just asked him to go off and warm up. He's a player who he's been in the squad a couple of times. He's been very impressive for the Cliftonville underage teams, the under-18s, and he's been playing in representative sides for Northern Ireland, but he's just been told to go out and warm up, so I wonder, might we be seeing him?
It wouldn't surprise me, knowing Jim as we do. Backs his players, looks to give opportunity regardless of age and experience, and if he thinks that young Carrigan can come on and make a difference, then certainly he'll have no fear as a manager of throwing him on.
Sportsline on air, of course, tomorrow on BBC Sounds and on BBC Radio Ulster from 2 o'clock. Just a rundown of the games tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Ballymena United against Loughgall, Coleraine, Glenavon, Crusaders, Glentoran, and Linfield taking on Dungannon Swifts. And live in studio will be the man who you said has had a good week. Tomas Cosgrove's coming in to join Michael McNamee. That's a perfect way to ruin your week.
No.
I'm only jesting, just to annoy him.
That's not
just
fair,
to annoy him if he's listening. I said opposite with Marcus. Okay, he's a good lad. I can get away with things like that. Here's Stewart. Doherty. Carrick starting to get a little bit deep.
Yep, they are. Cliftonville just dominating possession in this last little period, but I've got to say, a big pat in the back thus far for how Carrick have defended. Very solid, very tight, well organised. They're not diving in. They're not giving any space in behind for Lauren to run into, or for Cliftonville to run into.
And dare I say it, that's as so often is the case. Before the game, we're talking about defensive records, we're talking about home record, and we're almost talking about Joe Gormley there. Again, it's another vital interception at the back, just when it looked as if Gormley was going to break the deadlock. taken on by Addis. Again, Watson well positioned. Cliftonville have come to life. But it's into the hands of Glendenning as the cross was half blocked. Here's another look at that Gormley opportunity. I think it was Glendenning that time.
It was Rhys Glendenning on this occasion.
What a game he's had.
Oh.
But just to go back to a previous point, I mean, they've looked defensively sound and they've looked good at home. So you can read a lot in the stats, but sometimes they count for little.
And yet I'm panicking here, Thomas, because if we say too much and then they concede,
I suppose that's a
commentator's curse. We want to try and avoid it.
Well,
and we've still plenty of time to go, but that stat that you ruled out earlier on about they're never big.
I'm still confident, David. I'm still confident. Sticking to my guns there.
Yeah. No, I've got to agree with you.
Next Friday, it's Irish Cup and Ballymacash Rangers. Massive occasion for them, welcoming Glentoran. And is our live Friday night football game on the iPlayer and on the website. Cliftonville and Irish Cup action against Loughgall.
The Ballymacash story really is a fairy tale. You know, the rise and their progress has been phenomenal.
They certainly seem to be going the right direction, and it's all set to be a massive night for the club, welcoming Glentoran, taking on one of the giants of the local game. Stewart, still Stewart, goes down. Was he caught? Yeah. It's Albert Watson who's given away the free kick and will receive the yellow card. Lovely bit of skill from Sean Stewart. Outstretched leg of Albert Watson.
Do you know, it'll make me laugh. It was the defiant look of Albert.
Yeah.
What are we getting booked for?
Yeah, yeah. Albert, that was a booking when you started playing. It's a booking now in your 550th game. Now, it was just interesting there because I think John Stewart fancied that free kick, and Rory Hell said to him, no, you're not having it. It's going to be Ronan instead. Doherty's also going out there. Mentioned he scored that brilliant goal against Ballymena United with his left foot last week. It's very close for Hale to get it up and over the wall and on target. But he almost managed it. He said it took a touch. I thought the goalkeeper from our angle also got his fingertips to it.
I thought that was a great save.
Oh, it does look as if the referee did get it right from that angle anyway, but certainly from our viewpoint, I was about to say, well done, Ross Glendenning, that's a great stop.
Nope. I was exactly the same page, Thomas. To say we didn't get the clearest of angles.
Yeah, it's difficult to tell, but the referee was adamant that it didn't take a touch. So it is a goal kick, and another chance goes a-begging. Cliftonville need a big 10 minutes here. Thielen wins the throw-in at the other end. More activity on the bench. Two experienced players coming on, and Curtis Allen and Kyle Cherry for the home side. Cherry's missed the last few with injuries, been back on the bench the last couple of games. Curtis Allen just one goal in his last 10, but you certainly wouldn't count him out.
No, well, he's coming on for Nevis Maculatus, and Curtis is the fox in the box. If there's anyone who will get you a goal out of nothing, if there's anyone who will spot an opportunity, if there's anybody who will sniff something out, please believe me, it'll be Curtis. A most talented footballer, a proven goal scorer.
Everywhere he's gone, he's scored goals, and perhaps surprisingly, it's Gibson who makes way.
I simply think he's run himself into the ground, Thomas. You know, he gets the congratulation and the thanks from his manager, I'm not sure if Daniel wanted to come off, but certainly fresh legs and Cherry coming on.
Crow goes long. After all those changes, it almost failed to Curtis Allen. It would have been his first touch in the 6-yard box. Heel does very well with 2 players around him. 7.5 minutes to go. Doherty. Heel goes down, free kick for Cliftonville. Here's that chance for Curtis Allen. You give him the big build-up and oh, he almost stepped up.
He is such
seconds after coming on.
Player. Great to see him back playing, by the way, because he's recovering a really bad injury, which for some people could have finished their career.
Heel doesn't beat the first man. Gordon now with the captain's armband for Carrick Rangers. Look how deep the home side are. Pumped in by Kearney, hangs in the air. Gordon throws himself at it. Turner goes to ground. Heel ricochets off. Watson out for a corner kick. It's scrappy stuff, but do you know what? Right now, Cliftonville just want to get it into the penalty area and try and break the deadlock, try and find a goal, try and get 3 points somehow. Looping ball in from Heel again. Both sets of players have given everything, but well, that creates gaps at the back for Cliftonville. Allen can't quite get there. We mentioned him earlier. Jim Magilton spoke about him before the game. On comes young Ryan Corrigan, just 16 years old, a striker. Just his second appearance for the club.
Yeah,
He's played 2 minutes of senior football. He's now going to get at least another 5.5 plus injury time.
Well, Jim spoke very highly of him to you, Thomas, before the game.
Could this be his night? It was Shea Gordon who tried to force it back in towards the 6-yard box. Anywhere will do from Carrick Rangers' perspective. A point would take them 2 ahead of Glenavon in 7th, having played 2 matches more. It's back to the wall stuff now. Addis, who scored that dramatic winner, of course, at Newry a couple of weeks ago. Thielen back defending.
Yeah, without Daniel Gibson up there, they don't have that willing runner, they don't have that target man. And hence the ball just coming straight back at them.
Turner. Free kick goes against Cliftonville. And that will just let Carrick Rangers settle a little bit and push themselves up the pitch, because they were getting deeper and deeper. Cliftonville felt it was a soft one.
Well, let's be honest, it was soft, but I can see why it was given. And Carrick will be very grateful for the respite which it brings them, because that really was an onslaught from Cliftonville.
Hats off for Stuart King. He's heading every ball and kicking every ball. The American owners are watching from inside the ground tonight. I'm sure they approve of what they've witnessed so far. It's been a bit of a dogfight. It's been a night when perhaps hasn't been the most flowing football, but it's been hardy, it's been tough, it's been very honest play from both sides. And for 87 minutes, they've been inseparable. Can either one grab a winner? Heel tries to nip in. Clearance is only as far as Kearney. That's a great delivery. With real pace from Kearney. Allen went down. Doesn't win the free kick. Kearney does well to squeeze it across to Casey. Kearney wins the throw-in. It is relentless, David. But so far, Carrick have held firm.
Relentless from Cliftonville, desperate from Carrick.
Gordon. Doherty tries to create the angle. Plays it in low. Two players still tussling forward. Casey goes down. Still on the deck. A few half-hearted appeals from the fans behind the goal. Casey has a word with the referee as well.
No, not a chance in the world.
Goes in again. Who's it going to fall to? Allen. Hits it clear. Ronan hails it. The player comes back to collect it, and then when he plays it into the area, there's nobody there in green and white.
See some of the Cliftonville supporters beginning to make an early exit. Avoid the rush. They've decided that they can't see their team making the breakthrough.
Carrick have such a poor record against Cliftonville. Mentioned that one win since 1995, back in 2020. During that time, they've also only had 4 draws. Will this be number 5? Into the last minute of normal time. Corrigan to Kearney. Still wants to take on his man. Has another go, lifted in. I think it's McKinnon who gets his head on it. Addis is lurking, surely not. Johnny Addis again. Tries to loop it in towards Hale. It's actually a clearance. It's almost going for a corner kick and somehow cleared by Carrick. Gordon. Thielen wants it. He's got pace to burn in this near side instead. Gordon just calms things down as the board goes up for 4 additional minutes.
This is absolutely unbelievable, Thomas.
It's one-way traffic, but it's a roadblock at the moment.
Carrick defending ever so well.
Kearney. Cliftonville felt that was a foul over on the far side. The assistant was very close to it.
No.
They said that there was holding going on there.
Not for me.
Credit to Buchanan and Rollison. He's gone toe-to-toe with Kearney.
That's been a fascinating contest in itself, Thomas, hasn't it?
2 20-year-olds.
Intriguing.
Jim Magilton watches on. He can do nothing from the dugout at this point. He needs his players to produce a little bit of magic to get the 3 points. Instead, they've got to defend a free kick. So as things stand, Cliftonville will go to 58 points. They'd be 6 behind Larne, having played 1 game fewer. And Andy Ryan's made it 3, so that looks as if they're going to claim all 3 points. So it does look as if Larne will go just a point behind Linfield. David Healy's side play tomorrow. It is so tight in the race. Every point crucial for that trio of clubs battling for the title. We played 2 minutes of the allotted 4. Lashed forward. Corrigan tries to hold it up. One known instead by Glendenning. Heel gets the faintest of touches on it. Stewart wants it, but Forsyth denies him.
Brilliant defending from Curtis there. Really was good for young Forsyth.
Addis, he's continued his run into the middle. Is a handball being given perhaps over on the far side? Certainly a free kick to Cliftonville anyway.
Well, Stuart King is not happy down below us.
I think, yeah, it's handball. It was the Carrick Rangers player who perhaps almost turned his back on it.
But Thomas, he didn't have his arm out flailing. I thought it was as tight into him as it could possibly be. Well, it's provided Cliftonville with this opportunity. It would be contentious from Carrick Rangers' perspective if they were to score, and they have! A massive goal for Cliftonville and Oren Casey. They left it late against Uri City. They've done the same at Carrick, and they've snatched all 3 points. Casey, the hero, he was giving far too much time and space as it was lifted into the middle. Carrick Rangers will feel it shouldn't have been a free kick in the first place. Jim Magilton, I don't think will care, because they needed to win here, and it looks like they have right at the death. Well, for me, Thomas, the only way that Cliftonville were going to score was from a set piece. Such was the absolute brilliance of Carrick and how they defended. Young Odrin Casey really wanted to make the ball his own, maybe suggesting that he committed a foul in going for that header, but it's ended up in the back of the net. But the question has got to be around the giving of that free kick.
Well, Stuart King is furious. He's actually calling up. He's looking for his old manager, David Jeffrey, to make a call on that free kick, and
well, certainly from first sighting, I said it, that I couldn't see how Tony Clark Knight, he's closer to it than I, so I've got to respect that. But certainly from our vantage point, I thought that the arm was in by the side. It wasn't flailing, it wasn't unnatural, and that credit has got to go to Cliftonville. They kept going, but that is a right royal kick in the teeth for Stuart King and his players.
It is a smash and grab for Cliftonville. Yes, they created the better opportunities, but Carrick Rangers defended brilliantly. Glendenning didn't have a huge amount to do, it has to be said. There were a few big interceptions from the likes of Albert Watson, but then deep in injury time, Oren Casey, as the ball was lifted into the penalty area, scored a huge goal to keep the momentum going for Cliftonville. Look at what it means to his manager. Didn't have much to smile about throughout the game.
Reach for the sky and hold your head up high for tonight and every night. You're a superstar, and don't you be afraid. Think of all the friends you made. Like any other night, you've got your name in lights. You're a superstar, superstar, superstar. You're a superstar. In a world that gives everything, don't you know that it don't mean a thing at all, for a superstar. gonna try. If you need my baby, you'll succeed. And your eyes will make you see. You're a superstar.
Mesdames, Messieurs, le disc jockey Zach est de retour.